you too much from the next talk. Our next speakers are Xiao and Michael, and they're presenting on R, Python, and Shiny and Harmony, an out-of-the-box secure data backend for RStudio Connect and Workbench. Have fun.
Okay, thanks so much, Julianne. As you can tell, this topic has a lot to do with Box. So hopefully at the end of the talk, you will hear a nice story and maybe draw some inspiration out of this collaboration. So this is a collaboration with Mike's team at Atorus. So this is the background. So we are a mid-size towards the growing size biotech company. So when I arrived at Sarepta 3 years ago from big pharma Novartis, here we started from ground zero. We started to build up these key data science infrastructure, including code repository, GitLab, and all the remarkable RStudio server tools, now POSIT tools like a Workbench, Connect, Package Manager, right? But one key challenge we have been facing is the data backend, right? In order to serve the our Shiny applications and expose the clinical trial data into these applications to our clinicians, we don't have a really robust solution to start with. How do we serve these data securely to these really nice applications? So that's the journey that I want to quickly work through this talk, right? To really tell you a story about how we, in this setting, right, without an army of IT admins like the big pharma, right? How do we get around this issue? Right? How do we try to be creative, try to be out of box, right? Think about the existing solutions to enable this data exposing this secure data security. So, but obviously we are in the journey, right? So this is the so-called IDR journey at Sarepta, so interactive dynamic exploratory analysis using R. We are trying to really catch and learn, right? Catch up with big pharma, with this community, right? This wonderful resource, open source sharing spirit. We try to leverage what's out there and really accelerate and expedite our way towards fit for purpose GXP use. So I'm going to talk about briefly the motivation, right? Specific motivation of using Box. This usebox R package we have been developing, right? And also the architecture, hopefully give you some inspiration how this can be a potential solution for other organizations who are facing similar issues. So as you can see here, we don't have a connection, right? So the SAS data server are not mounted to the RStudio servers. But in the meantime, we have Box, the cloud storage, as the accepted data sharing solution at Sarepta. But we don't have the R solutions available to connect this, right? Connect the backend to Shiny. But we do have a lot of really great resources in the Python work, right? The Python software development kit, SDK libraries are really great tools that people already develop, right? Robust solutions to enable the Box API in the backend. So that really inspired our architecture at the bottom, right? We have the users who log on through the single sign-on Okta solutions that they authenticate into RStudio Connect and also Box. So you can see the Connect has a way to set permission per app, but also the Box application we set up a separate Box application and enable the JWT token authorization to enable the data access from backend. So that's where we introduce this SDK part. But you can see at the end of the tool chain, right? We have these Shiny applications like safety graphics for safety data review. Then you can see through the Box backend, right? We are able to power this applications through the Box, right? So as you may have encountered these cloud-based solutions, right? They have this waterfall-based permission, as illustrated here on the right. from compound level to study level to analysis level. So as illustrated on the next slide here, you can see this on the top, that's a real Shiny application hosted on Connect. You can see we are able to read both from local, but also from Box, right? So this is really the magic that Mike will work through the code snippet illustration on the next few slides. But we are able to read in the backend into the Box folder, and we can tell the user's identity, right? We found out, does the user have access to this subfolder, study or compound level folder, and then this the information will be rendered according to the user's specific access. But the beauty here is we leverage the Box solution, right? So in the front and at the bottom, you see there's a lot of robust capability already from Box, right? So including upload, user permission setup, right? So this all fits nicely together through the Python SDK. For now, I will transition to Mike for him to walk through some of the backend code.
Thank you, Xiao. So when we started looking into this, the primary developer that was working on this usebox project, Nathan, it took a good bit of exploration for what we wanted to look to do. There's the package boxr that does interaction with Box, but as we dug through the capabilities that we were looking for, not all of the needs were met. Specifically looking into things like user permissions, being able to filter down the files based on who is accessing at that moment in time. The complexity of working with a Shiny application when you're hosting through any solution is that the client has you logged in as a user and it knows who you are as that user, but the server-side process running the Shiny session is going to be running under a service account. RStudio Connect has capabilities to do run as current user. But even so, when you're working with a system like Box to access data, you're going to have a server access level token that gives you authentication to whatever that application is allowed to see, which could be for multiple users. So digging into it, looking at the Box software development kit that is hosted by Box, they had a Python kit available for that. And that's where reticulate really became a pretty beautiful solution to this problem, to leverage working through Shiny, talking through Python to do the interaction with the Box API. So we have some examples here of how just to show how nice some of the syntax actually comes out to be. So we can import the Box software development kit and bind that to an object in R. And we can do that on load of the usebox package. But then when we're looking to do things like collect the service client, that will be used to do the talking through the Box API. You're actually able to call individual functions from Python using dollar chaining in the same way that you have dot chaining in Python. So the syntax is fairly seamless going from R into Python. Using that Box SDK library, we're able to import the authentication token and get the service authorization, and then create a client that we can then use to talk. And then when we have actions like getting folders, you're able to use the Python functions from the client in order to get the items listed in the folder and return that object. And then when we want to download a file, we can query the file, get that file through a GET request in the HTTP, and then create the file, download it, and have access to that from R. So next slide, Xiao. So in here, the way that this ends up working in a Shiny application is that we get the app configuration, so the app sees everything that it's talking to, and then using the user information that's given to us by identifying the connected Shiny user as the client, then we're able to query that and get the list of studies that they have access to based on querying Box, looking at the folders available, checking the users who have access into that folder, and then subsetting the list so that the app can then explore based on just what the user is permitted to access. And then you're able to use that information downstream to download the data sets, read them into this Shiny session, and get whatever information that we need available in there. So for the last slide, Xiao, if you just want to wrap it up.
Yep, I just want to close this by thanking the team, right? So it's a close collaboration within Sarepta and Atorus, but also I want to thank the community, right? The boxr developers, who gave us the inspiration, but also Nathan, who was the original developer for the usebox, but also the wonderful contribution by the Python SDK developers. It's really, you can see the harmony, right? So it's really out of box thinking. How do we leverage existing resource, open source resource, to enable a solution given the challenges we are facing? So hopefully this is helpful for the other for the community. Thank you very much. That's it.